Hey everybody, Joe Kane here from Joe Rocks Coronado, and today I want to talk to you just for a few minutes to show you my latest series, which is sort of a continuation of the Bold as Red series and also kind of mixed with the Africa Rock series. So if you go to Facebook / Joe Rocks Coronado, you can find the photo albums that say Africa Rocks and Bold as Red, and you'll probably see both of these series, okay? But this is actually, I think I've put them in the same album as that, but it's a continuation of those two series, kind of blending them together along with some other stuff that I wanted to add in. So anyway, the first in the series, it was kind of intended to be an addition to my Africa Rocks collection, and this was the one. It's a big rock. It's about 7 or 8 inches across, 5 or 6 inches tall, and it's probably about 4 or 5 pounds. Big rock. But I wanted to do I wanted to use red, black, and white. That was my overall theme, was red, black, and white, and maybe add a couple of rocks to my Africa Rock series, right? So started with this, and I had this sort of kind of hieroglyphic pattern on the side, and then the dot work on this side, and then this flame looking thing here, and I think it turned out pretty well. I was pretty happy with that one. But then right after I did that, someone had visited my studio and was talking to me about they were of Seminole Indian heritage, and they were talking about some of the pattern, asked if I had seen some of those patterns of the Native Americans from the Southeast, because mostly the stuff I've looked at has been, because I'm in California, has been from Southwest, tradition. So so I went online and checked it out. And what I like to do when I'm trying to come up with ideas, I love to come up with original ideas and not just copy something I see online. But it's hard to just come up with something straight out of your head. So what I do for inspiration is I'll look at a lot of different things and then turn it all off and just see what I remember, see what jumped out at me, and see what I can put in. And since I was working with red, black, and white anyway, I saw a pattern on, maybe it was a basket or something like that, and it's not exact, but it had this kind of spiralish pattern to it, almost like a sun, but with a slight twist to it, and it just looked so vibrant. And I actually used silver, metallic silver, for these rays, and I thought, wow, pretty cool. And a black background, which most of the rocks in this series have the dark red background, but in this case I put the black background, and it turned out pretty nice. I liked it. And then when I was thinking about what I wanted to do next, I was looking at those patterns, and I saw turquoise is very popular especially in Native American art, and I think part of it was the prevalence of the stone turquoise, the availability of it, but also it's associated with healing. So it has some spiritual meaning and some maybe medicinal meaning to some of the Native American tribes. But what I've noticed was in some of the patterns they had, it looked great along with the colors I was trying. So just as a experiment, I just drew out a quick butterfly pattern and then filled it, I basically made a black butterfly pattern and then put the turquoise in there to see how that would look, and then tiny white dots to kind of outline it and make it kind of come off the rock a little bit. I don't normally go for straight realism. I see some really fantastic artists online who can make butterflies that look like, they have shadows and they're coming off the great, but not necessarily the style I'm going for. So anyway, but I love the way the colors came out with the dark red, the black, a little bit of white in there, and then the turquoise. It gave me different ideas because I hadn't worked with that color scheme before. So after that, I revisited the previous one with a slightly different idea, and I added a little bit of turquoise right in the middle, almost like it's a turquoise stone set right in the middle. And this is actually metallic puffy paint, and I drew out the pattern actually, which I didn't do on the other one. As you can see, this pattern is actually kind of drawn on and then outlined with dots. This one I actually drew the pattern with puffy paint so it would be raised. And then I did use some of the metallic silver in here. But as you can see, the turquoise here and the turquoise here, right? I don't know if the light picks up the colors really well. In the sun, you can really tell it's a nice turquoise. And then the red and white and black, right? So I was really digging it. I was digging the color patterns. I was looking at all kinds of baskets and ceremonial items and fabrics and masks and costumes and everything they use. And I saw some kind of pattern like this. Maybe it was on a lady's dress in one of those ceremonies or something. Not exactly this pattern, but the idea of leaves and sort of a shield looking thing. And so I tried that. Love the way that looks. And that's a small to medium sized rock. And then from there, let's see, I got so many rocks here. Then from there, I saw this really vibrant pattern, sort of zigzag pattern. And it wasn't what I ended up doing, but I used the zigzag idea, and this was probably one of the most difficult in the series because it's so huge. It's about the size of a small dinner plate, as you can see, and it weighs probably 8 pounds probably, I'm guessing. And if you look at it, there's a lot of detail in there, and it's not easy to get these to come out even. Actually, it was a lot harder than I thought. There's a lot of trial and error going on there, or I should say adjustments as I went along. But the final effect, I think it looks so vibrant and amazing to me. So, and the turquoise just makes the black, white, and red pop in a different kind of way. And there's just a little bit of white in there, really, kind of outlining these zigzags. But really happy with the way that turned out. Then I went to this, I wanted, well, let me do one with lots of turquoise. So I thought, what if I found this here? And I got to tell you, the turquoise I'm using, the paint, it's not quite turquoise, actually. It's like an aquamarine or something. I don't know. It's not quite turquoise. It's more of a teal, I guess, but kind of looks turquoisey. And because I'd been looking at all those bright, beautiful fabrics, I saw some other colors. So I did put in some dark blue and some orange in here, but kind of came up with that thing. Pretty good sized rock, probably about 5 or 6 inches across. And so that's what I had there. And then I wanted to do something totally different. I wanted to do something that wasn't, a lot of these rocks, because they're round, they lend themselves to radial patterns, circular type patterns. But I wanted to do something totally different. I wanted to come up with a completely different design using the same color scheme. And I want it to almost look like it tells a story. So I had this odd shaped, almost triangular rock, and just really off the top of my head, just sketched out. Here's look at the sides. I love the way the sides came out. And sketched out this pattern. I'm thinking it's a river, it's mountains, it's fields, maybe it's sunrise, sunset. I don't know. You could imagine all kinds of stories being told in this rock, but I love the way the puffy paint looks coming out of there, especially the turquoise. It just really looks great against that black, right? And then let's see, after that, 2 more. That's all I got for you. 2 more. I was at a friend's house just before New Year's, and I was looking at their rug, and it's this dark red background, like a Persian carpet, that kind of thing, like a hand woven rug or something, with all these different beautiful repeating patterns on it. But one of the patterns was kind of this medallion thing with almost like like a bunch of flowers coming out of it. And I thought, that's cool. Now, this actually doesn't look much like what I saw, but by the time I got home and my mind tried to recreate it, I did take pictures, but trying to get it right using puffy paint, because I drew this is all acrylic paint, but then I kind of sketched it out with a marker, and then with a paint marker, and then put in the puffy paint. You can see how much dimension is in there on those flowers. And I don't know if it comes across, but it looks really good in person, and it's unique. It's very different. And I never have to, say it, I saw it on the rug. Of course, they thought I was odd. They're all talking about New Year's and parties and this kind of stuff. I'm down here on my hands and knees photographing the rug. I don't know, rock painters, right? And then lastly, last one, I promise. Same house, but they had this sort of little basket tray thing, about 6 inches across on the table with a lid, and the lid was decorated with seashells, and the colors happened to be, it had red beads with these little white seashells on it and something else, but that was the primary thing. It was like a dark background. So I thought, well, this could easily be done in black, red, white, and maybe some turquoise, and I actually used a little bit of dark blue. But here's the pattern. Came out to be this beautiful mandala. So these little white, like parenthesis marks, are where the white seashells were. Same thing here. This, 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 this. So anyway, I kind of just went with something I saw, and then the red was actually done in beads, but I did these with puffy paint, and then it had big and small, and I think it came out pretty nice. And again, I used a black background on this for the edge, I painted the whole rock black and then did the design on top of it. So that was the last in the series so far. Who knows, I might add some more in. But anyway, so that's sort of the evolution of an idea. So starting from, one that I was going to add to my Africa Rocks collection, which I maybe did, and then ending up with this. Similar but different, right? But using these are ways that you can inspire yourself to create your own original designs, and you'll get a lot of satisfaction of it, because you'll create something that nobody's ever seen before and kind of give an originality to your work. So I hope you enjoyed this little talk about the inspirational process and the evolution of an idea. Thanks for tuning in to Joe Rocks Coronado, and visit me on Facebook at Facebook.com/Joe Rocks Coronado, and also on Instagram, Joe Rocks Coronado. You can find me there. So hit subscribe, hit like, and don't forget, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks. Have a great one.